Hello from Dartmoor and the BG Energy Challenge, where the 33 teams around me are about to take on a mountain bike and running race over some of the steepest and most scenic countryside in the south of England. But this lot aren't just physically tuned, they're mentally prepared as well, because speed alone cannot win today. To succeed here will also require teamwork, strategy and determination. There's a kaleidoscope of colours here, but with many miles of mud and mental challenges ahead. It's a case of wear whatever colour you like. It'll be brown by the time you reach the finish. We'll be concentrating on the final competition of this 3-day, 6-stage event. And with 5 grueling tests behind them, the competitors are well on their way to being physically and mentally drained. But they must raise their game for one final push in the Dartmoor countryside. Let's join Rob Walker to catch up on the story so far.
Well, there have been a few slip-ups along the way, but that's to be expected. The beautiful setting of Dartmoor, 5 challenges completed in 3 days, grimacing all sorts of physical effort, but there have been mental challenges as well. Variety of terrains, plenty of spirit, but this has been an adventure racing course to test the very best. Some have been reduced to a walk. They've been out on the water as well. Some reasons to cheer, but there have been some moments for consideration and deliberation as well, because some of this is about how clever you can be, as well as how fast you can be. Frustration, and then the elation of knowing you've completed the challenge. And we've had a nighttime stage as well, just to make sure these teams are pushed all the way to what will be a gripping climax. Plenty of teams still in with a chance here ahead of the 6th and final stage. It's getting tight, it's getting tense, and quite a few have a chance of taking the win.
We've done this event a few times and we sort of know the drill. So we're quietly confident that we'll do a good ride. And you never know, as 3 or 4 teams really close, so I think it's going to be real nip and tuck right to the end.
Well, cautious confidence from Team 23, but as I said, plenty of others who fancy their chances. Team 15, all in red, are Perenco. They've got a lot of experience at previous events. Have they got an opportunity here to turn the leaderboard on its head?
We're 5th on the leaderboard, so they're doing amazingly well. Covered in mud. Maybe didn't follow the plan for the cycling, but they're getting there.
Well, the boys and girls in orange, Team 9 from BG Group, lying just outside the podium.
We've been pleasantly surprised how well we're doing so far. I think we're a fairly fit team, but we focus quite a lot on the strategy as well. So we've kind of had a couple of really good stages. We're pleased to wake up this morning to find that we were in 4th.
And there's a sporting celebrity here to help inspire these teams onto greater glory. Colin Jarvis, 94 caps in the back row for Wales and a couple of appearances for the British and Irish Lions as well. He's representing a couple of brilliant charities who are benefiting from the efforts of all the squads here. And he was fairly excited that they won the construction stage. So they've been brainy, if not fast, so far.
We've got myself as the ambassador for the charity, and the girls are from Sparks and Care International. So we've bonded as a team. 4 girls and 1 bloke, and we're going to move off the bottom of the ladder very shortly.
Confident words from Colin Jarvis. Good to see him smiling, but this 6th and final stage will test all of the teams. A straight race to the finish. It's a mixture of cycling and running with 4 mental challenges at the action zones. The gradient increases from the intelligence test to the memory test, and then they go downhill, they ditch the bikes and then start running slightly uphill to the logic zone, and then the gradient really gets turned on. Dartmoor in all its glory before the 4th and final observation test, and then the dash to the finish. So here we go then. We're ready for the count. The 17th year of this event. We're all poised for a cracking race. Oh, slight false start there by Team 23. And you can see how slippy this terrain has been. And there's a faller already. A long, long way to go. Now, this particular point of the race is one individual from each team racing to collect a first puzzle, which they will take back to the whole team. And that must be solved before the first 4K on the bike takes them into the first mental challenge. Big early pace here by Team 19, Ernst & Young, and he's tiring a little bit, been joined now by Team 18, that's Hess, and they're coming up to their puzzle collection. They don't know what's in these envelopes. Now they've been told to turn to their left, and that's a mistake by the early leaders, which has given Team 15 Perenco an opportunity to get out front. The marshal was telling them exactly where to go, but I think they got caught up in who was going to be first back. This is team captain for Perenco, John Pym, with a solid run. It really is a fabulous place to bring the event to its climax. They've experienced all sides of the Dartmoor weather and conditions. Now remember, as Team Herbert Smith bring up the rear, it's not necessarily about who's quickest on the physical challenges, but they've certainly got a little bit of catching up to do. Now back with Perenco, little tap on the shoulder for John Pym. They're getting the puzzle back as quickly as he has done. So their challenge is to make a cube out of the wooden blocks. And I'm sure when you're under pressure, it's slightly more difficult than it may look from home. Two heads are better than one? Well, maybe. Which team are going to be first to get this to the marshals? At every stage, a correct answer has to be approved by the marshals before they can move on. That's Team 19. Ernst & Young recapturing the lead they lost when their runner took the wrong direction after picking up the envelope.
How was the puzzle? Yeah, it's good. Tough, but we've got an experienced guy here, so he nailed it.
Marsh.
21.
Well, certainly they have the right name for the conditions they've experienced over the last few days. As Ernst & Young head off, this is Neftex, the team from Abingdon, up into second place now as Marsh took a little while to get out of the transition zone. Well, in fact, they haven't just moved up to second, they've gone into the lead, because while some of the Ernst & Young members exited transition, others have stopped. Well, these guys have already won the award for most innovative fundraisers by cycling to the start line.
We left after work on Wednesday, and then we arrived for the challenge on Thursday afternoon. Feeling pretty fresh.
so cycling 160 something miles was just a warm-up?
Yeah, I guess it could be. It could probably be best described as one of those ideas that seems great a month in advance.
But it did raise a lot of money for charity.
It did, yeah.
Over £200,000 have been raised by the 200 competitors, and it's slow going for some. One or two of the Marsh competitors just struggling here. This is Team 15 Perenco. They seem to be waiting for one of their team members. Now they've arrived and they're on their way. Well, Team PGS, slowest to solve the block cube puzzle.
Absolute nightmare.
What happened?
Just wasn't going to fit. Just
really does show you how difficult it is at the end of a few days of really tough physical and mental challenges. You can lose an awful lot of time if you can't switch your brain into gear, as well as on the bike. So we're watching the two teams in second place. Now we're up with the leaders, Neftex. And maybe that long cycle ride from Oxfordshire has stood them in good stead. They've been pretty solid so far on the 5 stages, but here we get to see what they've got up top. The first of our action zones. This is the intelligence test. They have to check in with the marshals. This can take a maximum of 10 minutes, but obviously the quicker they solve this, the quicker they're back out on the course and back out on their bikes. Well, Marsh coming in second place, pretty level with Ernst & Young, Team 19.
12. It's this is 3 multiplied by that 4 times 4, 16, that's 2 times 2 is 4. It's 4.
Well, the mathematician from Neftex thinks he's solved the puzzle, and they're under pressure to get this done quite quickly, with the other two breathing down their necks. This is Marsh. Well, they think they're pretty good with numbers, and they're sure they've got the answer. And that would certainly put Neftex under pressure, because they are about to find out. Have they got it right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes, they have. It's green for go. And they're safely away and on to the next section. And this immediately puts the other teams on the back foot. But here come Marsh. And we know they've got it right.
All good, all good.
Because they've also gone for 4. But a big thumbs up from Neftex. They're on their way. Closely followed by the boys and girls in blue.
Just push your bikes.
Different tactic here. Again, another form of intelligence, because Neftex are trying to cycle up this really challenging terrain. But Marsh gave them the idea, get off the bikes and push, it's quicker.
If it was down to just physical, you'd pick 5 or 6 of the fastest people or the strongest people you could find. I have to say, if you get the strategy right, you don't have to be the most physical team in the competition.
And therein lies the ethos of the event. Now, in case you didn't solve this problem, let's give you the answer. It's the front of the dice minus the side multiplied by the top. So 4 minus 1 is 3 times 5 is 15. And the last one, of course, 3 minus 1 is 2 times 2 is 4. Sounds simple when you're sitting at home, but one or two of these teams have struggled to get through here as quickly as the leaders. And there are Neftex really motoring on, while some are still tackling that steep incline.
Go on, guys. Let's get up.
Little hand on the back, and it's all about the teamwork here, as well as the speed. So Neftex managed to make their way through the memory puzzle fairly quickly, and we're now approaching the halfway stage of the competition, where the bikes are replaced by a straight run. And the leader's stamina's holding up so far.
I'm okay. I think fitness is probably our plus point, even if we're really tired. But yeah, they've been helping me a lot and kind of keeping me going, so it's been really helpful. And team support is great.
Well, this is one of 2 teams from Perenco, 14. They're in second place. Marsh in third. They've been up there all the way through. So too of these guys, all in orange. BG Group from Aberdeen have the best aggregate score so far. Really consistent performers over the whole 3 days. They've got some really good runners in their team, so they'll be hoping this good form continues. But there's still an awful long way to go here. Neftex still holding all the trump cards at the moment at the front. Perenco second and Marsh in third. You can see how slippy and challenging the running sections are going to be. Good spirits though. Fist pump from Perenco and support for the Marsh team as well. And here comes Colin Jarvis. Well, he's achieved much in his career, but this has been a bit more steady and enjoyable.
The transition is the halfway point in terms of distance, but in terms of effort, that was just for hors d'oeuvres. As they rack the bike, they're going to have to get those jelly legs working on the run. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to Dartmoor. 33 teams are out in the Team Valley, trying to be first back here to the finish of the BG Energy Challenge. Mud, hills and exhaustion are only part of it. They've also had to raise their game mentally to stay in the running. Let's rejoin Rob Walker to see who's leading the way.
Well, it's the boys and girls dressed all in black who are out front at the moment. Neftex having a great race, but so too are the team in blue in second, Marsh. Struggled in the early stages, but they're very much enjoying this run. Another team also enjoying this second half of the race. Our Team 9 BG Group have moved up to 5th, courtesy of a brilliant performance at the second action zone, showing just how much time you can make up or lose with those mental challenges. Here are the leaders, Neftex. This is the logic zone. Say what you see. It's not quite Roy Walker and catchphrase, but it's close. And remember, it's a little easier perhaps if you're not tired and you're trying to do this from home. But they're getting towards the end of what's already been an exhausting 3 days, and the pressure's on because Marsh are also here, looking at the same puzzle from the opposite side. And here come Perenco, one of their two teams. Pressure's on now. You can see how tired they are. Little conflab going on with Neftex.
Why is that though? Why is there two of them?
Now Marsh, who arrived here in second place, are moving over towards the marshals. So too are Perenco. So there are two teams here who think they've managed to solve it. So say what you see. Now there's hesitation with Marsh. They certainly seemed as though they had the answer. Now they're not sure.
Jumping over.
Horses for courses.
Horses for courses. But not all the team members agree. What about Perenco? They seem pretty sure. Yes, they've got the green light and they're on their way. So what was the answer?
Ping pong. P inside the G and P outside the G, ping pong. She found it, I didn't.
Simple when you know how. But here it is spelt out. P in G, ping. P on G, pong. Still some hesitation from both teams from the BG group. Also Ernst & Young still deliberating. Definitely not as simple as it looks. Perenco have really stolen a march on the rest of the teams. And here's their other representative, Team 15. Remember, they were the very early leaders and they've also got it right. So both teams from Perenco out on the course, but this is Neftex. They've led and been so good on the bikes and on the challenges thus far. They've got P in G and P over G. It's so close, but it's not right. A look of consternation here. They're definitely still not sure. Little glance at the watch, it's costing them time, and Marsh are still continuing their deliberations as well. Good to see they can see the funny side though. And here come the girls from Sparks and Care International, helped along the way of course by Colin Jarvis.
Running backwards, running forwards.
He's still got the sidestep and the smile.
It's just a case of head down at the moment. We had a poor start and we've got stronger and stronger. We're very much tortoise in the hare at the moment.
Well, it doesn't matter how long it's taking. In the 17-year history of this event, they've raised £6 million. And this year's chosen charities, Children's Medical Research Sparks and Care International, benefiting hugely from the efforts of all these teams, who meanwhile are still struggling with ping pong. Really causing some issues for these squads. And once that seed of doubt has been sown, it's so difficult to make up your mind. Here are one of the two Perenco teams, 15, going really well in second place and catching the other squad from Perenco. So 15 and 14 in a real duel now, it would seem. A beautiful view here in Dartmoor, but they're focusing on the photo. And the idea of this observation test is that they have to remember as much detail about the photograph as possible. They then move on elsewhere where they can no longer see the photo but have to answer 5 questions. 3 answers must be correct, and if you want to try this, the questions are coming up shortly. So the deliberation here is how much time do you allow for making notes on the detail? Well, Perenco Team 15 are at the questions. There are the 5, and some are pretty detailed. Here's the one we're going to focus on if you had a go. Now, have they got 3 right? Bang on. They didn't need 5, just a trio of correct answers, and that may well possibly seal the victory for Team 15, who were in the lead, if you remember, in the very, very early stages. They've got a largely downhill run into the finish. Now, this is the key moment.
You have 2 correct answers.
Yeah. Oh, and that may well seal victory for Perenco 15. So if you were having a go at this one, top marks if you got it right. This requires immense attention to detail. The correct answer was 4 competitors wearing sunglasses. Now they're on their way, but surely there's too much ground to make up on the other Perenco team. A big wave, and you can just see in the distance the well-earned, well-deserved and much anticipated finish line. And Team 15 are closing in on the glory leg. Here they come then, the winners. Deservedly so. They led early on and they came through the final test in fine style. It's taken something out of them, but they're the champions.
I can't believe, I don't know how we ended up in first. The other thing is our other company, they were running in second and we overtook them at the last point there.
So you might get first and second?
Quite possibly. I would really like it if our 2 teams came in together like that. That would be great. We'd get up on the podium together.
Well, John Pym's wishes are coming true, because here come Team 14. It wasn't quite meant to be victory, but that is a brilliant second place. Neftex for so long in control, but once the lead ping-ponged, they couldn't get it back.
We had the first brain puzzle and we failed it miserably, so we spent 10 minutes at the checkpoint, and then I was it was too much to catch up.
Well, you always said you'd be good on the bike.
Yeah, just not on the brain quizzes again. If it's proved anything.
And now you've got to cycle back to Abingdon.
I think we'll take the cars back, actually.
Well, just missing out on the podium in this 6th and final stage, a Team 3 from BG Group, but the boys in orange have the highest overall aggregate score, hence the big smiles and big celebration at the finish. The confirmation of the final stage results: Perenco first and second, and Neftex taking third.
Well worth it, absolutely. Awesome. Lots of words there. Hard work.
And here comes the big Welshman, a huge dive. Well, we've seen him do that before, but usually he has a ball in his hands. Great effort though, and he's still smiling.
I think the key here is just seeing how the way all the teams have come together, showing different strengths, whether it be the logic games, the cycling, the running, the rowing. So it's just one of those that's been the challenge to pull the team together, the challenge to have some fun. So I'm glad I came.
It's been a challenging couple of days here in Dartmoor under tough conditions. Finished off with a real test of teamwork and determination. The result could not have gone any better for the 2 teams from Perenco. That champagne mixed with mud will taste very sweet. Everyone deserves their celebration.